it's a little dead meme. Fuck you, little bitch. You think you can fuck with me? What am I ring? Fuck you, little bitch. Hey, look, I'm hoping to break. Fuck you, little bitch. You think you can fuck with me? What am I ring? Fuck you, little bitch.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another one of these, another Snark Tank podcast with me, Derek Sweeney, and we got a guest today. We got the music man, Jonathan Young.
Hello.
The metal man right here.
I feel like John's come up like several hundred times, I feel like, on this podcast, because
probably.
like we'll like mention all good, don't worry.
I would never say like, yo, fuck his music for real, dude. Like, it's the worst thing ever.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if there was a podcast out there where people are just like, man, that guy fucking sucks.
I mean,
Like-
if they're just ultimate haters. I mean, it's look. I'll say this: I have for sure have seen people do such talented things that my first thought is fuck them, just because of how talented.
You're
because
so
it's just like
petty.
it's so good.
I
You're
feel
like,
it.
God
I feel
damn. You're like, God damn, that's so good.
Imagine just hating
Yeah.
someone for just putting music on the internet. Like, that's just so mean. That's just like, yo, fuck this guy. Not even like I don't like it. No, fuck you. It's so vile.
I can,
Oh, yeah.
I can kind of like. I remember when I first saw the first video I ever saw of like somebody like shredding on guitar. I was like, "Fuck this guy," because I was just like,
Yeah.
"I can't do this. I'm so bad at that shit. Like I can do like rhythm maybe, you know, but like the second it gets into like solo shit, I'm like, I wish I possessed that insane skill because I just can't fathom it.
I'm just too
But-
lazy to practice. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, there it is.
See, it's easy to be like me. Don't have any musical talent. But see, that's how you save yourself from that hatred, you know? So you just be impressed by people.
See, that's where you're wrong, though, dude. Like, talent doesn't exist. That's my first of probably many hot takes I'm gonna drop about music while I'm here, dude. Like, seriously though, like, all it is just the hours, because everything about music is literally just pattern recognition, and then like on a technical level, it's no different than like memorizing keyboard inputs for your favorite like video game or something. It's just, but it just, you have to hit every button at the exact moment.
He's throwing math at me right now, and I'm getting angry.
Yeah. See, but like that's the thing, is that like people get mad usually when I like drop that take, because then they're like, fuck, I could have played guitar then, you know? Like, I don't know. One of the best guitarists I know, my buddy Rich, Richati B on YouTube, he didn't know anything about music at all. Like he's told me this story like several times. He basically just like, he saw like some, I don't remember what it was. He saw like some like prog metal guitarist or something, and he was just like, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. So he literally like just played for like 4 hours every day for like 2 years. And now he's like one of the craziest shredders I know. Like he literally just put in the hours. Yeah.
I feel like that's always, I feel like there's always a certain level of like innate born ability though.
Well, I just think there's one big difference in music, right? Is just like people who kind of have what they call perfect pitch, and the people who don't. Where I kind of like
I don't know anybody with perfect pitch. I know a ton of really good musicians. Actually, no, I know one guy with perfect pitch, and he's like this blind kid from my hometown, and the only reason he has perfect pitch, I guess, is because like he can't see, so it's like his hearing is so much more in tune.
Yeah, it's like a Daredevil scenario.
Yeah.
Well, at least I feel like from, because everything, I would always write music completely in my head, and everything, I could hear everything and everything would match. I could harmonize everything until I don't know what happened. I think I just recently found this out. I would say late last year, that now I hear two different pitches in each ear, and it completely throws me off.
Oh,
Because
shit.
before I was able to just nail everything. Now, like I realized it when I was starting to do a Killswitch cover, and I couldn't get it right, and I was going insane. I thought it was my interface. I couldn't figure it out till I started isolating and hearing that like it's like a half a step up in my right ear. It makes no sense. My doctors are like, oh,
yeah,
fuck you.
That's a really oddly specific condition.
It's strange, but I looked it up, and some people do have it. There's actually even like an acronym for what people call it or something. But
I think it's called imagination, but whatever.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, you've just gone insane.
Just disembowel
like
the situation. You're going through something genuinely that bothers you, and I'm like, I don't think it's real.
Yeah, I guess like my main thing, like I grew up, like my extended family was pretty religious, and every time that I would like do anything musical, the first thing that they would always do is like associate it with like, wow, God gave you a gift.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and so like maybe that's sort of like why I'm biased about like really jumping down people's throats about the whole like inborn talent thing, is because like almost every time that I've seen somebody like bring that up and be like, wow, they were born talented. Every time I see somebody say that, they're always referring to a musician who has practiced for thousands of hours.
Yeah.
And,
like, hey.
you know, and like,
Yeah.
and so I've had people say that to me, and like, I fucking sucked when I started, you know what I mean? Like, and I can remember that very, very clearly. Like when I first started singing in high school, because I was just a drummer. And I first started singing and playing guitar basically because I couldn't find anybody that wanted to be in a band with me. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. And when I first started posting recordings on the internet, like when Facebook was first a thing, like I had just like random kids from my high school that I had classes with just like commenting and being like, bro, this fucking sucks. You should stop.
That's so vile.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Kids that you can see.
That's so much worse than like random like anonymous people on the internet, when you know that like these are people that you're gonna like run into conceivably like frequently.
Like, I know Jerry. Fuck, Jerry sits next to me in lunch. Why would you say that, asshole?
Yeah,
Yo,
man.
that's why honestly, I'm so much more comfortable, because when I started playing music, like I started when I was like 8, but I didn't like I didn't take it like super seriously, but I've been like playing it on and off for like a really long time. And recently, like in the last like couple of years, my sister was like, you should perform it at my wedding. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm far more comfortable in front of like thousands of random people on the internet that I know I'll never come across than I am like in front of like people that I know for a fact I'm going to see the next day.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't want to show up to New Year's in like a year and just know that they're thinking like, oh, that's Chris. You remember how bad that fucking cover of whatever the fuck
He
was?
flopped while they're in your house.
Oh,
Damn.
Yeah.
Remember when
My
he
mom
fucking
doesn't
flopped?
understand that.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't understand that at all, where she's multiple times at like family functions has tried to get me to play guitar or something, to the point where when her mom died a couple years ago, we went to the funeral, and like my uncle's a drummer for the church, and she tried to get me to go up there, and I'm like, you just don't like, you don't like, no, like I can play. I played a bunch of shows at like venues with random people, and I sucked ass, and I didn't even care. But then like the family in their mourning, and I'm just like, are you fucking? I was like, you don't understand, do you?
Yeah.
Did she make you do it still?
I didn't do it. I refused. I was like, dude, this, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like, it's gonna be. I feel like everyone's gonna hate me, and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I wish he was in that coffin instead." You know, like I just, I'm just like, I'm good, bro.
Man, that got heavy.
I was just like, I'm good.
They are going to wish that I was dead taking his place. Man, fuck.
That is hilarious. You should have done it, bro.
I mean, it's just, oh fuck, no, dude. I can't play in front of like family and stuff like that, or unless it was, one of those moments where the venue was so big that I can't see them. You know, they're just sitting in some like nosebleed seats, and I'm like, oh yeah, some of my family's there or some shit. But I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's weird for me hearing you guys like tell these stories, because like, well, that, and this is like another like check mark against my little debate team argument against inborn talent, is like my family is like all musicians. Like my dad like did a lot of songwriting, and my mom plays piano, and my extended family, like my cousin that I like really looked up to as a kid is like a band teacher now, and like there's like a drum set in like 5 different houses in my extended family that I would like go to for Christmas, and like that's like why I play drums, is because like, you know, I would go to like my aunt's house for Christmas or whatever, and like my mom wouldn't let me play on my cousin's N64, so the only thing sitting there for me to play with was the fucking drum set. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
and that's like the only reason why I like got into this stuff is because like, you know, my family, we didn't watch football games. We like jammed together, which like, you know, that's kind of weird and kind of cool, but it's like, you know, I mean like that, but I think that one thing that I see a lot of musicians in particular like kind of struggle with is like as soon as they start getting good, they kind of like disconnect on like how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be like super down to earth about like, yo, like I got to be good at this stuff because like of the people around me and because of like the amount of time that I put into it. And then if you have that mentality, and this is always like the punctuation that I put at the end of my kind of like my spiel about like inborn talent is that even if inborn talent exists, you will be better off believing that it doesn't exist. Because if you believe that nobody is born with talent, then you'll work harder and you'll act as though you can achieve being good at guitar or whatever. You'll act as though you can get that just by putting hours in like you would with a video game. And I just think that's like a more productive mindset. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I for some reason never thought about the video game analogy, even though it's like really obvious. Like,
yeah, dude, like I could talk about that for the rest of the podcast. Like I could talk about like how music is literally just pattern recognition. Like that's one of my favorite things to fucking TED talk about.
I think I think I'm in between where it's like I don't know if I agree that like people are just born talented. I do think that generally like there's a possibility that people might just be born with a chemical makeup that like makes the proclivity of understanding it a little bit easier.
Right.
But yeah, nobody's born like definitely like Michael Jackson wasn't born dancing, you know, like out of the womb.
I understand. People aren't born like amazingly godly, but I feel like some people are just born with like a little like you're probably just gonna understand this better slightly.
Yeah, they have an edge. I mean, think of it as like the autism spectrum, where some people just can get things so insanely well in a particular like in one particular like avenue or whatever. There's just like there, and I feel like music can work that same way or anything else. And I always have these two big examples watching movies and seeing actors train for specific roles. And I think about like say The Matrix, where just like half a year of choreography training was why it's so much better than most Western like fighting movies, and or say Walk the Line with Joker and Reese Witherspoon, where they spend a lot of time taking singing lessons, and they sound pretty good, where they're not singers at all. And I'm like, oh wow, look at how much improvement you can have if you actually like take this shit seriously and you put the hours into it. And I'm always like, that's really nice, and then I never do it.
Yeah, I've thought about that for a while too, like just taking like vocal, like proper vocal courses or something. But because I don't even know, because I don't know, John, did you ever do like proper like vocal training, or did you like learn entirely like on your own?
So kind of, I never like took official vocal training lessons, but I have like 4 to 8 very serious singers in my extended family. And also like I was in like choir in high school and stuff like that, and like my dad was a church choir director for a while, so like I was never like officially taking vocal lessons, but like I said, it's like I was surrounded by people that were doing that kind of thing. And the thing about singing is that like the biggest like first step to becoming a good singer, I feel, is like this sort of mental hurdle where when you're singing, you're physically using your diaphragm and your lungs differently than you're supposed to when you're talking. Most people, when they talk, they're like really like not pushing very much air out, and they're not like really thinking about the way that they shape their throat or their vocal cords at all. But when you're singing, like you have to like friggin' pump the air out. Like you really have to project in a way that Like most people go their whole lives never needing to project air through their body like you're supposed to when you sing properly. Kind of like what you're saying about like some people just don't get it. Like some of that is like a mental barrier because once you like, and I always tell people, like I get like fans emailing me videos of them singing and asking for advice, and almost every single one, the first thing that I tell them is you have to pump more air. And part of it's like a confidence thing because like you feel like that's wrong to be like projecting that much volume. So you kind of like subconsciously dial it back because you're like nervous about like if you're doing it right or whether or not you sound good. But like when you're singing, like you're supposed to be like projecting like loudly if you're doing it right. And obviously there's some exceptions where like if you're singing falsetto, then you're singing differently. And if you're singing like a fucking indie pop, you know, whatever the fuck, like Billie Eilish, but like those methods, the people who sing quietly are either doing it wrong or they've had years and years of training that has taught them how to push air properly while singing quietly.
It's tricky. Like singing is one of those things that I think is a little bit more that's I wouldn't say inborn, but that is another one of those things where it's like I just know some people who like I know for a fact it's like you're just never gonna sound.
I can't sing. I can't sing for them. Like, I cannot sing for the life of me, bro.
Better by
as of this state, in my current state. I'm talking about in my my stage one Sweeney with no buffs, no practice, no grinding,
Stage 1.
No buffs.
I can't sing at all. It's horrible. I think I have a
We're
fairly
gonna get you a
good,
level 99 bard, man. We'll get you there.
I have like a pretty good speaking voice, I think, but I do not have a singing voice at all. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I sound hilarious. I squeak, then my voice cracks. It's the worst shit ever.
Yeah, you, John and Derek, you guys actually did something recently, right?
did.
Together, you guys did.
Yes.
Yeah, which was I gotta say I'm glad it happened because it made me try a little bit harder with like, because I'm kind of just starting out, right? Just doing things and taking it more seriously. I've been jamming in bands for years, but I never did anything with the production process. I would just, I'm going to jump on the drums real quick, whatever, let's go play some shows. So when I reached out to you, Jonathan, I was like, all right, I don't think I'm necessarily ready to hit somebody up like you, but it's in the same, I learned a lot on the guitar when I played with my friend that was this prodigy. He taught me a lot about like alternate picking and scales and stuff, playing with him. And it was just night and day. Like, this guy is a god. And then I was just like, yeah, I know how to play fucking Avenged Sevenfold. And so I was really appreciative. To me, I'm like, okay, it sounds pretty good, but I feel like I wonder what Jonathan's thinking. Just because, like, you know, dude, you this is your field. What are you? What is he just being nice? And he's like, oh, it sounds like shit, but I'll hook him up.
Well, I mean, like the thing is, man, like, I don't know. I've learned over the past few years of, you know, like doing the whole content creator thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've met so many people that fucking suck that have millions and millions of subscribers. And I've met so many people that are really, really good and have 10 subscribers. So like, I just don't really care anymore about that kind of thing. Like, I don't like you know, I still work with like more established musicians because like that's part of my career. But when it comes to like, you know, when it comes to like the respect thing, like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, I've seen how easy it is to make a bad musician look good enough to get 2 million subs. And I've seen how, you know, so I've seen it all. Like, it's like how established you are has nothing to do with like how good you are.
We live in a post Rice Gum world.
No,
and like Jake Paul and
please don't bring him up.
That's
man.
a great point.
No, but it's true. It's like,
a great
I mean,
point.
like
It's a great point.
attention is very like, there's no, it's not a meritocracy. You know, we don't live in like some kind of a
I feel like
fictionalized.
it should be. That's the problem. That's a problem for me.
But that's not how anything works, though. It's like
I agree.
It
I agree,
be.
dude. It fucking sucks. Like, I could sit here and cry for hours about how shitty it is that I have friends that are making beautiful, beautiful music that they're pouring their heart and souls into. And then I have, I know other people that are just scooping the bottom of the barrel, fucking grabbing the corporate table scraps in order to get, optimal views. And it fucking sucks. But like,
it's for me, like, I'm not like a singer. I was a bit of a punk kid, of course, like everybody was, born in the 2000s that lived through that period of time. But I'm very hip hop heavy. Like I love hip hop with all my heart.
Yeah.
And then like when I see someone who's a terrible artist making a lot of money, it hurts me to my core because there's so many beautiful artists that are just like not getting recognition.
Yeah.
So like absolutely. That, like it hurts me so bad because I'm not even musically talented, but it's just like, damn, these people are like people that have been doing this since they were like 7 years old, like going to shows, going to battles, going to venues, talking to people, not getting anything. Then there's people like Rice Gum who just insulted the art for him, and they're double platinum artists, and it's just like, what the fuck, dude? What's going on here?
Crazy. Platinum.
Yeah.
Platinum.
Rice Gum kind of fell off though. Like I haven't heard anything about it in a very,
something
very long
for
time.
real.
Yeah. He probably secured his bag and then left.
Yeah.
I think like part of the problem with that in the music industry, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is like the music industry is really kind of like backwards in the sense that a lot of other big art trades are more skill and merit focused and less ego focused. Like you don't see anybody becoming a gourmet chef for the clout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, like you don't see anybody becoming an architect for the clout. Like, but like music, probably over half of the people that become or try to become musicians do it for the clout. So it's like there's this weird disconnect where like the whole motivation behind somebody making music in our culture, the way that we think about music in our culture is very ego driven and very like kind of selfish, and it's very detached from thinking about the craftsmanship of the music itself. Like I love to like compare like the music world to like the visual art world or the or like cooking. For some reason, I love comparing the music industry to cooking because I feel like it points out how fucking stupid the music industry is. But like, imagine if you went to culinary school and they only taught you how to make dishes look nice and they didn't teach you how to cook meat properly. You know what I mean? Like that's like kind of where the music industry is at right now. Like nobody knows how to write a good melody. Nobody knows how to write a good chord progression. And those are all like, imagine calling yourself a painter and not knowing how the rules of shadow and perspective work. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like that's literally how the music industry is right now. It's like everybody who is considered a professional in the music industry field, they're like painters that don't know how light and shadow works. It's like fucked to me thinking about this. And it's so demoralizing because it's like, it's the only artistic field where nobody's learning the basics. And I think it's like an ego thing. It's like people treat music like it's this vehicle for ego and for like whatever. Like it's, it's, the fame comes first and the craftsmanship of the music comes second. And there's no other artistic field like that. If you want to be a famous painter, you got to fucking paint some dope shit. If you want to be a famous sculptor, you got to make a dope sculpture that doesn't fucking, fall over at the first thunderstorm, but music, that's a different fucking story, man.
I think it's because it's just the medium itself is so
the consumption level. I feel it is the amount we consume music, the amount of people just like run through songs.
People have a hard time consciously describing what good music is supposed to sound like, but people don't have any problem consciously describing what a good painting is supposed to look like, because like the way that we learn as humans, and I'm no fucking behavioral psychologist or anything, but like, we as a species seem to be very in tune with our eyes. We're very good at like processing information that comes from our eyes, but ears not so much. So like everything that makes a song sound good is usually something that flies under the radar of your subconscious, and you can't explain how the notes are working together in a way that your brain likes. And that's my job, is to like figure that shit out. And that's like another conversation, but like everybody understands that level of like music theory without realizing it on a certain level. But everybody has a hard time putting it to words. And that's like another thing that kind of sets music apart from these other artistic fields, is that if somebody makes a sculpture of a human body and it looks wrong, you can immediately tell. But like if somebody makes a chord progression that doesn't quite sound right, the most that you're probably going to say is that doesn't quite sound right. Like you won't be able to put a finger on like, hey, that guy's face isn't shaped the way it's supposed to. Like you won't be able to do that with a chord progression.
Yeah, so. It requires a lot of interpretation, like, or even just like a lot of thought that most people could. I feel like a lot of it is just the fact that it's such an auditory medium, and it's just hard to really pinpoint like because I know how to I write music, but I don't know how to read it. You know, like I know very little music theory. I just know like, okay, so this is something that sounds good to me. I don't even really know why. I don't have any understanding. But like when I'm
the literal opposite. I can read music because my grandmother was an organist, and she can play like she's been playing organ since before the 50s. So like she can play organ like her with her ass off, and I can somewhat play piano and like I know chords in guitar. You know, that's about it.
Yeah,
but like
you're sitting here saying that you have no musical talent.
I can't do it well. I'm not good at any of it, you know. Like I can hit drums and make it sound somewhat decent, you know, but I'm not like good at stuff like that. But my grandmother is like the best organist I've ever heard in my life, and she tried for a long time to just like help me grasp music. Cause she's like, "Oh, this is how you read music. This is what these keys mean. This is what this means. This is a freaking flat. This is that." And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I eventually, I can like, if you give me a sheet of music, I could probably read it, but to play it, I'll be like, man, that's too much.
That's another rabbit hole I could jump down, is that like, I feel like the way that people try to teach music theory is wrong. And everybody knows music theory. They just don't know that they know music theory. I don't know. This is cheesy and stupid, but if I were to sit here and like quiz you guys, and if I were to sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Do.
Right. You guys know that that's not finished. Mm-hmm. You guys can hear that that next note wants to come after that.
Yeah.
That's the entire basis of music theory. Everything that you hear, like every chord that sounds good with every other chord, that's why. Like, so if you like everybody that's always like, oh, you know, I don't know any music theory, but you do. You just don't know the words to describe music theory, because music theory is just like explaining what your brain already fucking wants to hear. And like mapping out like what combinations of notes your brain gets good chemicals from. You know what I mean?
I think there's a certain point, like what song did I hear when I was way older? The Chain. I just heard The Chain and I knew that was a good song. I had no reason why I knew that was a good song. It was like out of nowhere. You know, I was like, oh, or I just heard like Freddie Mercury sing when I was like 6, and I was like, this person just sounds good. I don't know why they sound good. I don't know why I agree with these things, but this makes sense to me in my little tiny brain. I feel like just certain things kind of just escape genres, and it's like, oh, that's just a good song, or that's good vocals for the most part.
A lot of that can be described by like music theory, because like a well-written melody is kind of built like a well-written like character arc. Like it usually has like rising tension and then falling tension and then resolution. So, and anybody can pick that out. And I wish I could fucking plug my keyboard in while I'm recording, because I could like show you guys. But and same with chord progressions. Like and this is like kind of like what you're saying about like genres. Almost every genre in the Western world still can be broken down to the same patterns of music. Like, for example, there's the concept of what music theory heads call the tonic chord. And basically, are you guys familiar with the concept of a song being in a certain key?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
of course.
So if a song is in a certain key, the tonic chord is usually going to be the chord that is based off of the first note of whatever key that you're in. So if you're playing a song in the key of G, the tonic chord is the G chord. And the reason that's important is because almost every chord progression in the key of G, you're going to feel like you're going to feel like the G chord in the key of G is the starting point, and then it's also going to feel like the ending point. So a good chord, like you could, even if you don't know anything about music, you could treat music like a fucking math equation and hypothetically build a good chord progression in the key of G by looking at these patterns and saying, okay, I'm going to go to a G chord and then a C chord and then a D chord, and then cycling back to the home chord. And if you do that, everybody in the Western world is going to hear that and think that's a solid chord progression, because our brains want those chords to resolve. And I, like, off the top of my head, I can't think of any non-avant-garde genres that don't follow that rule. You know what I mean? And like another thing, almost all music, no matter what genre you're listening to, counts to 4.
Yeah, it's the 4
It either counts to 4 or it counts to 3. Yeah. And that's like just pattern recognition. So like if you were to feed all of these different like psychology things into an AI, you could probably get it to eventually learn how to write a song that people would like, at least from a harmonic and melodic standpoint. So that's
so disconcerting.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but it's literally just a Sudoku puzzle. It's literally just pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And like if I wanted to, and there's other things too. Like, I was talking to some friends of mine about this. I was writing some fantasy metal sea shanty stuff, like some Viking metal shit.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And I started like studying these like old like folk tunes from like Scandinavia and like Britain or Scotland or whatever. And you can notice these patterns where, like I was talking about this tonic chord that's like your home bass chord. A lot of these folk tunes, so not only does most music count to 4, but then it does sections of 4 counts to 4. So one count to 4 is called a measure or a bar.
Yeah.
And then like when you hear rappers talk about bars.
And it ends in a 16. You have to have a 16.
And it does 16 bars. So that's 16 counts to 4. So a lot of times in like almost every old sea shanty or folk tune or whatever, the chord progression will resolve to the tonic 1 chord before the end of the 16 bar phrase. So in a lot of other genres, you'll notice that the chord progression resolves at the very end point of the 16 bars. But in these folk tunes, I started noticing that the 1 chord was always resolving like 2 bars prior to the end of the section. And once you start to like break it down into these basic patterns, like I can right now write you something that sounds like an old Scottish folk tune. And as long as I observe that rule that I noticed in all of these folk songs, I can just replicate that. Like, and then it'll automatically sound more authentic. So there's all sorts of stuff like that where like if you study a genre, you can notice patterns in the way that they structure how they're setting up the chords and how they're setting up the melodies in each bar. And it's literally all just pattern recognition.
That's so wild.
And if you understand all of that,
That's
dude.
so wild.
And people don't like talking about this though, because they like music being like this magical mystery thing that comes from your soul. So I mean, people don't like recognizing the patterns because it's kind of like looking behind the curtain and it kind of ruins the show.
Yeah.
But
one of my good friends always said that like music is just math. And if we're taught like music alongside the time we're taught like basic arithmetic and like algebra, stuff like that, like a lot of people would just understand music in a way better way. And it's freaky because you're literally doing that right now. It's making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was taught it. See, that's kind of the problem. Is like when I was learning music theory, I took in none of it because I was taught it more like a language. And like I was like I can't learn another language right now. I'm trying to learn all this other shit. I'm just trying to learn math. I'm trying to learn how to do fucking.
People don't teach music theory properly. The way that people teach music theory right now is like 800 years behind.
Yeah, same thing with everything, dude. Math is like 2,000 years behind, bro. It's hilarious.
The reason we're talking about, or the reason we're digging so deep into music stuff, obviously, is because Jonathan Young is like, obviously, is made a name for himself doing a lot of music. But you've also got something kind of cooking, right?
I do. I finally snapped. I finally snapped after 6 years of making clickbait on YouTube. You know, I saw a lot of other musicians making original music, and all of it, like, kind of like what I was saying, everyone's just using the same 4 chords. I got fucking sick of it. And every song that comes out these days, it's about like one of 5 topics, and it's always like the most cliche shit. It's like, I'm depressed, I'm partying, you know, I'm in love, my relationship didn't work out. That's like every song that comes out nowadays. It's like the same 4 songs over and over and over. And I finally snapped. I was like, you know what? I'm going to write the greatest fucking album ever made, and it's going to be about fucking laser pirates and dinosaurs, because I don't fucking care anymore.
That sounds amazing.
So that's what I did. So my new album, Starship Velociraptor, the final chapter of my unraveling sanity. But basically, I wanted to try and take myself less seriously and just like have a good fucking time. Basically using every trick that I know to make the dopest fucking like music that I can, that goes as hard as possible, but not being a dick about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's pretty fucking crazy. I was kind of like taken. I was really surprised when I got, because you sent me like a DM. I think I think almost 2 months ago now, where you were like, hey, check this out. It was just like a random, like a Dropbox of like all the tracks on it. And I was like listening through it. I was like, this is some of the most insane shit I've ever heard. I just, it reminded me of, not that it sounds identical. I'm just saying, like, it reminded me of back when you and Lyle did the Budokai thing. Just the strong focus on like melody and just like the playfulness of it, and just like how hard it can go. I was like, this is so sick. Man. It really is like a sound that I don't think is at all common.
Like, not at all.
And
slightly, bro.
It's really
like
fucking
organized.
Cool.
It's like chaotic but organized, and it kind of what it reminds me of. It reminds me one of my favorite games, Mega Man X. There's I'm just brain farting right now. It's not a beaver. What is
it? The volcano theme? Is it that one or no? It's a different one.
No. What the hell is his name? Holy shit! It was right there. I was about to say it, and then it just left.
That happens.
Is it a penguin?
That's insane. No, he's not the penguin. He's the dude that has the shields on. You gotta blast it off. He's like a beaver, but he's not. Armadillo. I was like, he's like a beaver, but he's not. It's an armadillo.
I have never been more lost than I am right now.
Yeah, because I fucked it up. But anyways, there's a stage armadillo, and that track is something like, I was like, I love this because it takes you on such a wild ride, and I feel like one of the tracks I heard you release, and I was like, I heard, because that was you put it on Twitter like a long time ago, where you're just kind of like showing like I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, this is, I feel like I wanted to jump onto some shit, and like I need to fucking go, and it makes sense. Like, I saw your animated music video, and I'm like, this is perfect. This makes sense.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I love like metal music, but like the metal community really fucking sucks right now, because everyone in the metal community is like too afraid of being called gay to ever try anything new. So like it's like, so like everybody in the metal community is just like always so fucking serious and angry, and like, they're like, it's just like angry sounding guitars, and that's it. And like, there's no synthesizers, there's no like other instruments. And that's why I kind of started going on this like fantasy metal kick, is because like I started seeing these like Viking metal bands and like fantasy metal bands where they're just like they like have a sword in one hand and a microphone in the other.
So
and
fucking
just
badass.
Like
dude.
it's like, yeah, but it's like at the same time, it's like they'll be like playing this super fucking hyped metal song and like a fucking violin player will jump out and just like start like fucking shredding on the violin. And it's like, dude, that is so much more fun and fresh and interesting than all this shit that's happening in like the American metal scene.
I think it's also just more metal. Like the idea that you just be like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna bust a violin and a fucking xylophone out here.
Because that's the thing, man, is that back when rock and roll and metal were new, it was all about like breaking the rules and like, you know, pushing the boundaries. And like metal has now become the status quo. Like metal has become the very thing that it swore to destroy. And like metal is just like constantly worried about like, we have to sound like AC/DC or we have to sound like Metallica, like or like whatever. Like we have to sound like Dream Theater. Like everybody is like so obsessed with emulating old metal because that's what's perceived as like the gold standard, that like we've kind of lost that rebellion that metal used to represent. And I don't know. I'm just trying to have some fun, man, and break some rules and fucking make some dope
I
shit,
do think
you know
that
what
happens a lot with genre, like a lot of genres in general. Like I feel like that happens whenever like whenever there's something that like is, you know, viewed through like particularly like rose-colored glasses. Like I know this happens a lot with like trap and like hip hop right now, specifically like the whole mumble rap thing, where it's like everybody hates mumble rap because it's just like, you know, whatever, it's just the thing that's constantly everywhere and everything kind of sounds the same. And it's like, why can't we go back to like fucking I don't even know, like
Tupac.
Oh, you're making me mad. You're making me mad, but I'm gonna allow you to continue your point. Let me continue your point before I interject.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with punk. It's like,
absolutely.
You know, a lot of punk sounds the same, and I love punk. And there's bands that sound like exactly the same as they did 10 years ago that I still like. But like, I'm also like, you know, it's like I wish a lot of these bands would kind of just fuck around and do something weird, every now and again, because it gets, you know. The idea that like metal is just it's heavy guitars and heavy drums and that's it.
Well, that's really an American thing, because if you go once you go like say across the pond, I mean like the genre of power metal, for example, that's like a huge staple, and that's always been one of my favorite genres without thinking about it, because usually when I'm thinking about it, it's like when I'm working out, when I'm chilling, I'm usually have on something like, I put on some Dream Evil, or I put on some like Sabaton or something that has a lot of keyboards, huge choruses. They're talking about history, or they're talking about slaying dragons and shit. Like, it's so much more fun, and it sounds way better. And I love when people play around, like you're saying, in the experiment. I think of this. I used to run on the treadmill to this one track called, I think it's called "And We Run" by Within Temptation, featuring DMX. Oh, no, not DMX. Exhibit.
Yeah.
It was a weird crossover that's like, what the hell is this? But it just worked, and it infected me, and I loved running to it. And I'm like, I want to make shit like this. And I have one song I've been sitting on for a long time, but I'm like, I need to work it out, and I don't have the proper vocals. Kind of like how you were covering some Sabaton, and I was like, yeah, see, that's why I was like, I ain't gonna fuck with Sabaton, because like, I can't like
do it.
It's
fucking do it.
Look, man.
Do it. Just do it, bro.
Look,
don't make me pull up my videos from 2013, dude. I sounded like shit. You just got to do it. You just got to, because if you want to sound like Sabaton, you got to start today. You know what I mean, dude? Like, just do it.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hilarious.
That's good advice.
Crazy.
I'll definitely give it a shot, because I was like, yeah, when you did it, I probably will do it, because I really been wanting, when that song Bismarck came out, I was like, I gotta fucking cover that song. It's just, I don't know, something about it that So but I totally agree with you, man. And it's there's that weird, I hopefully a wave of that stuff for certain sentiments, basically the whole like the Lamb of God style, where they were talking about it in a Killswitch documentary, where they were just like, nobody smile on stage, nobody, and I was like, that's stupid, dude. Like, it's so dumb.
so
That's why
weird.
I love Adam from Killswitch.
Oh, he's the best. He's the fucking best.
I love Adam from like he'll like fucking get in a chicken suit on stage with like all these super serious metalheads, and he's like one of the greatest producers in modern metal.
It's fantastic.
And a crazy guitarist. And he just like doesn't give a fuck, and he like will constantly troll people, especially like in the serious metal community. He just like is the only guy who can like step back and not take himself so seriously.
Yeah.
So
That reminds me of
absolutely.
Guar. When they would come out on stage with those like ridiculous like fucking Power Ranger villain costume.
That sounds
yeah,
ridiculous.
dude. I love that shit. Cause like, I don't know, man. I feel like music, there's such a big culture of like escapism happening right now that's like surging because of things like D&D and things like video games, where like people want to just like step outside of the shitty real world, and like music isn't keeping up with that, like except for like power metal and fantasy metal, obviously, but it's like most mainstream music is like strictly rooted in singing about my real relationship or my real money or my real, you know, depression or whatever. Like nobody's writing songs about like just escaping and like just imagination, you know what I mean?
I recently got into a
Yeah,
genre called like Vapor Twitch, which is like artists like Sam Gallantry, sort of similar K Tronada, Mr. Carmack, and certain like things like that are like more like the trappy, but they went to this whole land, and they have a lot of like real, like outside of thinking like music, where it's like our favorite artist in the group, Sam Gallantry, he has a whole trilogy of albums called Escapism. And it's like very refreshing to see, like, just to hear like different kinds of sounds. Like it's one song that sounds like flowers from a cartoon are like singing to you as you like go through, and has a weird like tropical jungle feel. Then there's another one that has like a real like sort of like Chinese like old Asian sort of song feel that makes you feel like you're running on mountains with a dragon beside you. It's just like these super weird kinds of sounds, and I'm like, this is like refreshing, because I love like gritty like New York hip hop, obviously, but every now and then to switch it up to that is like really refreshing to me. It feels good.
A lot of punk especially is like very, very rooted in like just shit that's happening, because like the whole point was like, it's just like, hey, here's just, we're gonna sing about like everything that's wrong politically about like what's happening right now or whatever the fucking, that's like fun for a while, but it gets so sad and depressing if it's just all you're hearing.
I think you can still do that through the escapism lens, but with like metaphors.
Yeah, no,
like,
exactly.
I was trying to do that a little bit on this new album. Like I have a couple songs that are like kind of about fighting the power, but it's through the lens of like fighting the power, and the power is like this evil king or whatever. It's like instead of, but like I feel like that's more accessible too. It's like
definitely, yeah.
Like the whole idea of like writing this like angry song that like name drops George Bush. Like, I love you, Green Day, but like, I feel like that's a little played out now. And like, people are kind of like fatigued by constantly being like reminded of all of this stuff. And I think that kids that are kind of tuning all of that out, they might be more encouraged to get involved in something like politics if we were able to frame it through this like still having fun, but we're also, you know, anti-capitalist pirates or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's a lens, just a lens that they can see it through properly, opposed to like giving them the real thing that they won't grasp. I understand that.
Yeah, there's a lot of songwriting that's like very blatant, and it kind of takes like the fun out of like the because it's lyricism is poetry. I think it's you know, it's the whole point is to just make something that sounds like it's not about what it is about, kind of, but kind of still getting that point across. And it's like, yeah, the whole like Green Day, George, but like I remember I love Bad Religion, but like they put out a song.
Oh God!
Like a couple years ago, that was like, I think the kids are alt-right, and I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
I hated that.
It's just so
much,
overt.
Man.
I like the song though.
Like, calm down.
Well, the song is a bop, man. But what I really didn't like about it is that it was such a disconnect because they didn't know though they don't know exactly. They think they're like the alt-right are the Nazis of yesterday, and where they don't get anything as far as internet culture. The alt-right took that song and were like, this is the shit. They made something about us, and they celebrated it. And I was just like,
man.
fuck. I'm like,
Awkward.
you don't.
Oh man,
That's
awkward.
what like. That's
You
what
wanna be-
saddened me. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, you want to be a little bit more vague. Just put a little bit more songwriting into it, you know? Like don't just like write your literal, because a lot of songs like that just come across like Twitter feeds, you know? Like it's like, here's my Twitter feed, but I put it to a chord progression and it's like in the key of fucking A flat, and it's like I don't know, it's just it's weird. But I know metal for a while, like metal I found really, really inaccessible for a really, really long time, because I was just listening to like a lot of stuff that was just like, oh, anger, I'm so mad, and it's like, okay, like it's a good guitar, I guess, but like I wouldn't care to listen to this. And then it wasn't until I found like Swedish stuff that I was like, oh, this is so sick. Like I listen to like a lot of Amaranth because it just sounds so like it sounds so like
I love that band.
Yeah, it's like energetic, and it's like metal Disney almost, and it's like, this is so sick. I love this.
I feel you. For me, for metal, I hated metal for a long time because I never thought the people that were singing in metal sounded good for years. Like I just don't feel like they sound good. Also coming from like a very soul background of like Motown and shit, I was like, I don't think I like this. And then like I found this one metal song where it was this lady who was just singing like Whitney Houston in like a metal band. And I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah. She sounds great. And this sounds great. This music sounds great. And I was just like, okay. And then like, I just fell. I was on like a little bit of a metal kick, and I played Devil May Cry 5 like a year or two ago. And that song is full of amazing. You even did Devil Trigger, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is insane. I love this music.
It's melody, man. Like melody.
It's very
even
important,
in
man.
honestly, like even in the realm of like video games, I feel like melody used to play such like a way stronger role in like older video games, and like even some like early in the 2000s. Whereas like now, like if you hear the theme to the latest AAA like new IP, you're just like, what is even the melody here? Like there's
because and that goes back to partially what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of modern people, like a lot of modern musicians aren't ever learning how to write a good melody.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or they're being told by this fucking corporate super giant Call of Duty company or whatever that they need to pump out a fucking theme song for a game in the next 5 days. And like exactly what you're saying. It's like, like melody is king, man. And it's like all of that, like everything about writing a good melody, you got to train to learn how to do that stuff. And a lot of modern shitty melodies are all motif based. So basically like I don't want to get you guys content claims, but if you think about the melody to like any like Taylor Swift song or like any Katy Perry song, it's usually just 3 notes repeated. It's like 3 notes, copy paste, 3 notes, copy paste, and that's the melody, right? And the best melodies that you hear, if you think about like the main theme songs from each region in like Lord of the Rings, or if you think about like the Star Wars theme, that melody lasts for like fucking 16 bars, and it just like builds up, and then it brings you home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is like training and like knowledge of how all these different parts work. And you have to understand chord progressions, because a melody will only work if the chord progression underneath it lines up and backs it up. That's another fucking 5-hour conversation, but yeah, like you guys are absolutely right. Like melody used to be much more important, but
I think it still is. I think it's just so not. It's not as utilized as I feel like it used to be, and it's a real shame.
It's easier to clickbait people with one little catchy bar.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's like if I can make one bar that's catchy and copy paste it, that's like more efficient and quicker than it is to pay fucking Howard Shore or Hans Zimmer, however many thousands of dollars to write like the most iconic theme ever. It's like not these corporations don't want to invest money into the music art of it because they can't like they will see a hype dubstep beat that some intern throws together for a Call of Duty menu screen as being, you know, more cost efficient and just as effective than you know the menu theme to an old Final Fantasy
Metroid,
game or something.
Prime, dude.
That's just so that's so incomprehensible to me though, because it's just it does so much heavy lifting. Like, dude, like I don't like Star Wars really. Like, I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
Like it's this secondary thing to me. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm like loosely associated it with nostalgia and whatever. But like those melodies are, I would argue the melodies carry that entire fucking franchise. There's a reason why those core themes are in every single main movie. There's a reason why those motifs stick around in like the shows and all that shit. Like the
Simply sound. That sound is that does that for that series like all the way through. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, no, in particular that the Twin Sunset, whatever the music, the specific melody that plays when like Luke is on like the fucking horizon, he's looking at the Twin Suns,
shit like is like goosebump shit. That's really good.
That is like, I didn't care about Star Wars, and I heard like I remember sitting down to watch Star Wars for the first time way after. Like I saw Star Wars for the first time in like 2017. Like it was way late. And I remember being like, whatever, all right, Star Wars. I've seen this parodied a million times, you know. And that melody comes in, and it's like, this is why do I care so much all of a sudden? Like, I have no nostalgia associated with this, nothing. But it's just that damn good melody. And that's true of, like, pretty much any huge, like, really memorable thing that you can remember from, like, video games. Like Dr. Wily and like fucking Mega Man and like just that fucking awesome theme and like the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack entirely. Mm-hmm. It was like,
it's actually an interesting point. Like I'm thinking about like some of my favorite video game scenes. I'm like, would I really enjoy them as much if that theme was different?
Yeah, Marvel movies. Yeah. Like, watch a Marvel movie without music. All of them fucking suck. If like, you know, literally, dude, like, Marvel has perfected the art of making a bad movie, but making people care about it because they put the right fucking emotional symphonic theme underneath
it's
it.
Genius.
Dude, you're right. Like I thought, cause I was thinking about, which one's my favorite when I think about it, and I was thinking, I'm like, I think I enjoyed Civil War the most, and it's like, why? And it's the fucking score. The score is actually pretty fun. The score is just like when they're actually fighting, like when they're all fighting, there's this specific score that's like dun 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 dun, and it's just like, it's really, I was like, it sounds so grandiose, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like that fucking
music.
I love this fucking track.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
It's a shitty movie. Nothing makes sense. The plot is just backwards. Place, but because they drop the right hype soundtrack in, you care about what's happening.
They introduced Spider-Man with Alt J, and that was all I needed. I was like, oh, sick. Left hand free.
There you go.
I love it.
That's so funny. I have to test this out some more.
Dude, music is so insanely important to the quality of like any game, any movie, like any TV show, even like think about like the ending of like Breaking Bad and how like without Baby Blue by Badfinger there, it's like it's just a man rotating. Like it's just there's nothing there, and it's like
I'm thinking about Mario right now. Like, I'm having Mario stuck in my head. I'm just thinking about the Mario melody, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd like video games that melody didn't exist. I'm just thinking about that,
dude. Like
over and over again.
I got so fucking mad because the last season of Game of Thrones, the music was so good, but because the show was so bad, it just didn't even matter. Like the guy who did the score, the fucking composing on the new season of Game of Thrones was a genius, but he was handed this unpolishable turd to try and fucking write me. It's so sad.
The final theme of freaking Daenerys destroying all of freaking King's Landing. Yeah, that whole entire sound would sound because it encapsulated the craziness that she was going through in her head so well. Yeah, and then when Jon killed her, that was also such good music, and it was just
the music was the only good part of that season. It makes me so sad.
This is really interesting. I don't remember it because of how pissed off I was about the series. That's fucking powerful.
Because you just shut off. You just stop listening and you're just fucking angry.
You're just seeing bad and you're like, what's going on?
That is so interesting. Because I always that is so wild. I didn't even think about that. Because I always, whenever I hear good music, and a lot of times I focus on the music more than the actual scene itself when I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about that when we were watching, or I think we were just talking about Castlevania, like the latest season, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking great. Like listening to the music, and that's fucking wild. That's actually like I'm really thinking about stuff that I haven't really been thinking about, like. I gotta go back and watch that season again and listen to the music because.
I was about to say go watch that season, but I didn't have it in me to tell you to go watch that season.
Oh my gosh!
I can watch it again.
That hurts me so bad, bro. You know how much I love Game of. I freaking. Those are the first books I read again. Like I stopped reading until like 20. I was like, I'm not gonna read anything ever again. Fuck books. And then I read like 6 of those books, and I was just like, wow, I can't wait till this is over. And then they hit me with the episode where everything was dark, and I was like, I can't believe they disrespected me like this. My time.
That was pretty wild.
It was an episode of darkness
to the point where you could see like video noise. I was just like, oh, this is
the artifact thing.
I was like, oh, this is. I thought like my monitor was fucked up at first. I was like, wait, something's not right.
That's messed
the
up.
The worst part of the whole entire season. That was the last part of Game of Thrones we're talking about. The worst part was that Jon Snow was trapped behind the wall fighting a dead dragon, and he didn't kill the what is his name? The Night King. He didn't kill the Night King, and I was just like, how on earth are you gonna validate that? That is several seasons of buildup that he is his final. That's the final boss for him. That's his final interaction in the counter. Like, and they just like, that's his Bowser. That was his Bowser. Was he supposed to fight him? I still want
to know how that fucking dragon didn't just blow through that wall and completely incinerate him.
It blew through a wall of ice, but it couldn't.
That motherfucker. It's just too like the plot armor. It's just like, come on. It's one of those things where it's they all knew the problems, but they're like, let's just do it.
They wanted to get out so they could do the Star Wars thing, right?
Exactly.
Dude, you could see the faces. You could see, dude, it's so crazy because there's videos of everybody reading their final scripts, and Kit Harington is just holding his head.
He's fucking crying.
He starts crying, dude. I'm like, like, this is my character,
bro.
He
has to kill Daenerys. He's like fucking crying, and she's just like, I know. Like,
it's same with the new Star Wars, dude. It's like all these like, I don't know, these fucking like entertainment corporations that like they get too cocky and they think that they've solved the formula. They think, oh, people will watch this as long as it has sword fight and dragon in it, and they're just like whoosh, like completely miss.
They don't respect the fans. Why people? They don't respect the fans.
Yeah, they don't respect the intelligence and the subtlety of why the fans liked it in the first place, and it's just. It's like that with all fucking corporate art these days, man. It's
so a shame. Insane. But you know, it's gonna live forever though, because that soundtrack is just so fucking good. It's just so goddamn like it's objectively. It's just it is just good. It's like, you know, think about Doom 2016 without the music. You know. Like, it's probably a fine first-person shooter, but that soundtrack is probably the thing that got me into metal in the first place. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
It's got people into some really heavy, like, jinty shit.
Fucking electric metal, dude. That shit is bananas,
dude. Fucking BFG, fucking BFG Division on that soundtrack is so fucking it's like such a good song, but you know,
it's interesting.
I don't know why we have such a weird like inability to understand the importance of melody, but like it's just how it goes.
Yeah.
We have a ton of questions for you, Jonathan. Because people have been like, oh, when are you going to get Jonathan Young on here? I want to ask him, how do you use a guitar? Period.
Yeah! So, Starship Velociraptor, that's, when's the drop date for that?
4/3/2/1.
Nice. Fucking awesome.
April 3rd. 2021.
So if you're listening to this on free feeds, that is tomorrow. So it should be fresh in your mind. You should check it out. I'm a pretty big fan of Hyperspeed myself. I really love that track.
I feel like Jesus is gonna come back on 4/3/2/1. I think that's the day.
That's the day. Yeah, I'll have to send you guys the album if Chris hasn't.
That's so dope. I'm excited.
Nah, Chris hadn't done shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I could. I didn't know who I could.
I probably told him not to send it to anybody. But.
Yeah,
whatever. It's his fault still.
You didn't.
Right.
You didn't, but I wasn't sure if I could. So I was just like, I'll just play
He was
this.
probably like, no, send it to the homies. And the Chris is like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I have this. I have this thing I want because, like, most of my for anybody that doesn't know what I do, I mostly do cover songs, and it's not legal for me to give out free downloads of cover songs because anytime that I distribute a recording of a song that I didn't write, I have to pay royalties. But so this original album is like one of the first times that I've ever been able to give away my music for free legally. So I want to try doing this thing where I just like start fucking just giving it to everybody. Cause like, I don't care. Like I'm making plenty of money off the covers. It's like, what if I just like send this to every Twitch streamer I know and just be like, hey, free album.
That would be so fucking
It's
fantastic.
it's stream safe.
Oh, dude, you gotta get it
I mean?
on that. What is that fucking that knockoff Guitar Hero thing?
Oh,
Rocksmith, Rock Band.
Funkin',
Yeah.
It's-
the Flash game,
Whatever the fuck it's called, but it's just Guitar Hero, but not Guitar Hero.
Friday Night Funkin'.
Yeah.
I heard some shit. Yeah, that's it.
I love that game.
I heard some shit that like was done by an artist that had no followers whatsoever. It was crazy. I don't know. I was like, how the fuck did you get on here? I don't even know. But it was like some dude jamming along to his stuff. I think that was like really cool. Watching people play your shit would be awesome.
Dylan Van Voren wrote in. He goes to Jonathan Young. Who are some of your influences in music?
So lately, it's been, like I said, a lot of Viking metal. I've been listening to a lot of Beast in Black, a lot of Brothers of Metal. I just discovered this album, the Emblas Saga. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The Emblas Saga by Brothers of Metal is like an almost flawless album from start to finish. There's tons of really interesting melodies and chord progressions, and it's all like Norse mythology. And it's also influenced by like Norwegian folk music, but it's fucking like brutal ass metal.
Nice.
Dirty Loops is a band that I kiss the ground they walk on. It's 3 Swedish dudes that make like rock fusion jazz pop.
Oh, that sounds so cool. What are they called again? I gotta acquire that.
Dirty Loops. Dirty Loops will absolutely brain fuck you. It's one of the greatest bass players who has ever lived playing slap bass, and then a singer who sounds like Michael Jackson who can play keyboard better than anybody, like jazz keyboard, and then the drummer is a fucking god as well. So they make like soul, jazz, fusion, pop stuff. They're
That's
absolutely insane.
That is so hard to even conceptualize in my head.
Like you'll listen to it and you'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So Dirty Loops, I can't recommend Dirty Loops enough. If you want to hear music that pushes the boundaries harmonically and melodically, definitely check them out. I love like a lot of metal bands that know how to write good melodies, like Killswitch Engage.
Mm-hmm.
Rock bands that, you know, just write solid shit. Like I used to listen to a ton of 3 Days Grace.
Oh yeah.
And
I think
I've actually been
there.
working with the drummer from 3 Days Grace. I think I can talk about this. The drummer from 3 Days Grace and the Howard Benson, who produced every radio rock record that you listen to in the mid 2000s. They're starting a little record label together, and I've been writing some music with them, which has been crazy.
That's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I like you know, grew up like listening to a whole bunch of 3 Days Grace and like playing drums, you know, in high school with like 3 Days Grace songs, and I was in a Zoom call with their drummer the other week, like writing music that sounds kind of similar to 3 Days Grace, and it's like it's a trip. So I love those guys. A lot of the music that Howard Benson produced, like a lot of those bands, guys like Breaking Benjamin have influenced me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
There's a lot. I listen to a lot of music, but
yeah, it's always like a never ending like cascade like of influences. Definitely like 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin were like pretty huge, especially back in.
Yeah.
I remember they were in fucking Halo 2.
They were out of fucking nowhere, out of the clear fucking blue sky.
And it was awesome.
I was just like, is that Breaking Benjamin?
Yeah. This is kind of a reach, but and like, you know, people will probably be like, that's stupid and cheesy. But like, if you listen to like Broadway and Disney music for the melodies and chord progressions, that shit is a trip. Like, those guys know how to write a solid fucking chord progression. And I didn't realize that until I started doing like the clickbait Disney covers.
Oh, yeah.
I would like do these like covers of these Disney songs, and I would realize that like when you first listen, like even like I did a cover of Let It Go like last week or something.
Yeah, I heard it.
And like when you first hear that song, the chorus sounds like a stupid pop song because the chorus is just the same 4 chords that everybody else uses. And I actually, years ago, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was hanging out with some dudes from the old music college that I went to, and one of them was kind of this snobby kind of, he was a little pretentious. I'll leave it at that. But he was like, oh, Let It Go is just a 4-chord song. It sucks. And I like looked at the chord progression and I looked at him and I was like, no, this song has like 2 different modulations. Like, this is actually a really complicated chord progression. And if you actually break it down, that you could probably learn a lot from this. So I don't know. People always like kind of write that music off, but like from a technical standpoint, that stuff is like textbook good melody writing and good chord progression writing.
Yeah,
anyway,
fucking Phil Collins on
He destroyed that album though. He went further beyond than he needed to go.
Yeah.
He ascended. Yeah. He didn't have to go that hard.
That was Super Saiyan 3 Phil Collins.
That whole album was the scene of him becoming Super Saiyan 3 from Dragon Ball.
Well, and he wrote those tunes with, I think it was like Mark Mancina or somebody who's like one of the greatest composers of the past 50 years.
Insane.
And that was the guy that was like backing him up on writing the weaving those like poppy Tarzan songs into the actual score of the movie. It was like a really, really good composer that was like second in command on that or whatever.
Unbelievable. So. He deserves a fucking statue made of fucking platinum somewhere, dude. Simply for that album. It's unbelievable. The album goes bananas. No pun intended.
Hey, boss, why haven't you followed me on Twitter? I feel like I only have one of the starter Pokemon. That's his name. Wrote in. He says, howdy, Snark Tank and Mr. Young. Can you each recommend an artist or an album you surprisingly liked from your least favorite genre? Ooh. And for you nerds with music theory knowledge, what's your favorite key and why? I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily. I wouldn't even be able to tell you my favorite key.
I'll answer that one.
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead. I have no idea even how I would even begin.
My favorite key is the key of C major because it's the easiest to play on the piano. Shitty answer, but
that's funny. I would say C minor just because that's what a lot of there's a lot of metal.
You hear a lot of C minor in general.
That are just like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
I'm a fan of minor keys in general. I think the way they sound kind of like grim dark a little
depressing.
Bit, but yeah, but they don't have to, you know.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
That's kind of the thing that's fun of it. Like, I like there's a bunch of bands that I know that like just sort of like do minor key, but their lyrics are like it's almost like the opposite of Pumped Up Kicks, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think about major and minor keys in kind of a fluid way because like like C major is like functionally the same as A natural minor, and I don't really like one part of the song might sound happy in major key and then another part of the song might sound sad in minor key, and like if you get wrapped up in the humdrum of music theory, then you know some people would be like, oh well, you're in a minor key during this part and you're in a major key during this part, and it's like you know, like whatever.
That points to the same key straight up. They're the same thing at certain points, which is weird.
Yeah, they're functionally the same thing, but it's just about how you're looking at it, you know.
That's cool.
But man,
at least
recommend an artist that you surprisingly like from your least favorite genre. I feel like it's actually kind of hard.
I'm gonna have to think about that.
What's
for
my
a
least
second.
favorite genre is the question.
Is it a a song or an art? Wait, is it specifically a song or just specifically like
he
an
says
artist?
an artist or album, but I would just say
album.
song also. You could if you can think of, just because I need help, as much help as I can thinking about this.
I don't know. What's my least favorite?
I feel like I think because I'm not really a fan of Billie Eilish. Not really. Most of the stuff I've heard from her is it's too generic for me, and too like yin yang twins, like just fucking whispering and shit. But like some of her fucking songs are like, I actually like say one of the first covers I did when, the way that I recorded this song, there's people that were asking like, hey, can I get the stems? I can really help you fix it up. And I was like, no, because I don't want you to know how I fucking recorded this song. It was the most, at the time I didn't even have my interface or anything. And I was
What
using
song was
my
it?
It was Lovely by Billie Eilish. And I did like a metal cover of it, and I'm gonna redo it because now I have a basic understanding of how to like make stuff sound decent. But before it was, I used my iPhone to record off a speaker, my drums off a speaker, so it was just like mono. And then I used my DSLR camera to record like the bass and all this shit, and I like threw it together. And it's the most, like, I never would let anybody like that has any understanding of how DAWs work and then give it to them. They'd be like, this is fucking a pile of shit. How did you, I can't believe you did this. But anyway, I really like that song Lovely by Billie Eilish and Khalid or whatever the fuck his name is. Mm-hmm. But Khalid, yeah. That song, I don't know, it's as basic as it gets, but it just has a feeling where as soon as I heard it, I was like, this I could put some heavy guitars on this and it would sound really fucking good. And I probably in April or May I'm gonna redo it, but I already have like a bunch of other shit lined up.
But I don't know if I would. I think Brockhampton probably.
Oh, which song?
Is like a group. What do you mean?
I don't even know who
like
that
an
is.
art. They're like a group.
Brockhampton's like a group of rappers and shit.
Yeah, they're a group of
okay.
rappers, and they make. I'm not like huge into rap or like even whatever the hell they do, but like that first Saturation record was like pretty fucking cool and pretty weird, and I'd recommend that because that's a genre that I don't really have a lot of experience in, but I remember hearing that. I think Fantano actually sent it to me or something.
Brockhampton was all on them. They actually fucking they referenced them in one of the tracks.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
my hand's
but
pretty hard.
yeah,
I don't even know what my least favorite genre of music is. I don't even know.
Country?
No, it's not even country. I kind of like some country. I like some folk music too. I hate bringing it up because I get made fun of about it, but I actually like. I really like. What song? What is it?
Well, just
do you like?
anything
Do you like?
surprising,
Do you like?
I can't believe I like this kind of a thing.
What is the name of it?
Sweeney listens to Enya, I bet.
I'm sure he does.
Don't worry about it.
Sure he does.
What is it called? Jonathan, go. I can't remember. I'm trying to think of the song.
Okay. So maybe this is a cop-out answer, but I'm gonna tentatively say that mainstream pop is my least favorite genre.
Yeah.
But one guy that really pleasantly surprised me is Charlie Puth. I think he actually got his start on YouTube.
Yeah, he was a YouTuber.
And he, like, I think a lot of non-music people would be quick to write him off as just another LA singing about one-night stands pop star. But that guy is actually really smart when it comes to, like, he knows a lot of music theory. He knows a lot of really smart tricks about, like, melody writing and chord progressions. And that dude can fucking play piano. Like, if you look up, there's like some videos floating around on YouTube of that guy like having like a jazz piano solo battle with another musician, and he fucking shreds. And like there's some songs on his album where he brings in like a full R&B a cappella vocal group that are just like gorgeous vocal harmonies that he does. And a lot of the melody writing that he does is just really ahead of the game in terms of the other people in that genre. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anything from Charlie Puth. I think I probably did just write him off. I was because I saw literally just his name, I was like, what is that
and
name?
like the way that
Chuck,
he markets
man.
himself, the way that he markets himself is like exactly the same as other mainstream pop artists. You know, it's like the fucking neon like side profile, perfectly framed profile picture and all, you know, all that like marketing shit. But he's actually a really good musician. So
yeah, Sweeney, you got
Okay,
anything? It's
so
a hard question, honestly.
There's a song called Riptide.
Oh my fucking!
I actually like that song quite a bit. I actually like it's by Vance Joy. Yeah, Vance Joy. I like that song. It's a super fucking like common radio song, but for some reason, like I think there's a banjo on it, and the banjo gets me every time. It just speaks.
Hey man, that's honesty.
It speaks to like the most simplistic like animal part of my brain. It's like, this is fun. This means fun to me.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's Rainbow Connection time.
Exactly.
Banjo.
It just works. I love that song so much, dude. I
totally understand, man.
It was like on number 5 on my Spotify top played like last year, and I was like, holy shit! It was between that, Heat by 50 Cent, and then like another song about like freaking how much a dollar costs by Kendrick Lamar. Like two like really, it's like the most obscene sandwich of music ever, and I'm just like, I love this song. It's pretty good.
You know what bothers me about my Spotify most played? The number one song on my Spotify most played is a song that I hate, but I listened to over and over again because I was trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with it and trying to figure out like how to fix it. And I was like, listening, just like, there's got to be something I can do here to fix, because it was off of like the most recent Green Day record, which was terrible. And I was just listening to this song. I can't remember which song it was, but it was on. I couldn't share that. I was like, I can't share this because this is like embarrassing and also false. Like I was so.
I mean,
fucking
it was your
bad.
most listened to. Real is real, man.
Yeah,
that kind of happened
so.
though with learning when I was actually when I was having my problem with my ear issue and I didn't know that I was hearing different pitches. That's what happened with The End of Heartache from Killswitch. That was my number one listened song because I listened to it so much because I couldn't figure out what was happening.
Did you ever like notice that you were always facing one side towards like the guitar amp or something?
I wouldn't say. I think it depends on the setting.
I'm thinking that you're not hearing different pitches. I'm thinking that you have one ear that is experiencing hearing loss for high frequencies.
This is what the doctor said. Well, everything looks fine. The frequencies you hear relatively on the same level, so it's not like you have significant hearing loss like in your right ear or something like that. And the only thing he said was maybe you're getting ear fatigue in one of your ears. That's the only explanation. Because
what is ear fatigue? Is that a thing?
Ear fatigue is like basically when there's so much when you have so much sound processing, after a while, it can't really process the frequencies as well. And so then things do sound sometimes lower, sometimes faster or slower. Like it just kind of warps your, like if you're dead tired, shit sounds vastly different if you're like listening to music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
if I try to mix music for more than 5 hours at a time, it's just all like I just hear mush.
Yeah.
I can't tell what sounds good anymore after 5 hours of straight headphone time.
That's wild. I never thought about that. I always thought
imagine 5 hours of that. That'd make me lose my shit. 5 hours of constantly reconstructing and putting together a song and taking it apart and putting together the fucking 4 chords again. Yep. I would die.
Tiny little knobs.
Yep. Yeah.
Guitar tunings. Do you guys have like favorite ones that are not like standard?
Oh yeah.
What would you say?
Here he goes. My two favorites are Drop C, just because most of my favorite bands played in Drop C, so that was something that I got so used to, like Drop C. But then if it's acoustic guitar, I love Standard D. Standard D just sounds so much like I wrote a song and I'm playing it in just like E and then versus D standard. It just sounds so much better. And one of my favorite songs called Come All You Weary by Thrice. It's in D standard. It's just such a fucking great. It just sounds amazing, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't really describe it. Just sounds good. Can't describe the vibe I get.
I don't know what to call it. I don't know if there's a name for it, but I love DADGAD. Dadgad.
Dadgad. Yes.
Dad.
I was gonna bring that one up.
It's such a good. Everything sounds like a fucking old western, like Celtic fucking romp in that tune, and it's so sick.
I haven't
But-
tuned a
So
guitar
what
in like
is this
7
one?
years, so I wouldn't know.
There's a bunch of guitars in the apartment right
There are
now.
a bunch, and I'm afraid to pick them up.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
this is the minor key relative of Dadgad. This is Dadgad, DADGAE instead of GAD. So the top string is
It's just a normal
lower. Oh wait, no, it's higher. Yeah, the top string is higher. So the nice thing that you can do with this is that's still kind of out of tune. Fuck me. You can kind of play in. You can kind of play this like really like sour folk tune kind of way.
Yeah.
Like and then you can kind of like. I don't know. It's basically Dadgad but minor key.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to try that out. Like, I've been doing Dadgad a lot specifically, but I haven't thought to change it.
Dadgad is one of
at
my
all.
favorite tunings, dude.
It sounds fucking awesome. One of my favorite soundtracks in all of video game history, the Bastion Soundtrack by Darren Korb, who does all these like I think it's, oh my god, is it Super Giant?
Super Giant. That's their second or
Yeah.
first game. Their second one, right?
Bastion, I don't know if Bastion was their first game or not, but like it was definitely one of the early ones, and that entire soundtrack is like acoustic with like synths and like electronic, like, and it sounds like it's all in Dadgad to me. Like that's been the easiest tuning that I've learned how to play like anything on that
Yeah.
soundtrack, but so fucking good.
Yeah, part of why I'm so attracted to Dadgad is because I'm mainly a keyboard player, and you can bar chords on the bottom 4 strings really easily, and they'll all sound open as long as you're playing in the right key. So you can just kind of like you can just move this shape around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like visually, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, it's very easy. It's very easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, and then like from a chord progression standpoint, like traditional guitar tuning, visually it's hard to like wrap your head around what you're looking at when you're like figuring out normal guitar chords unless they're bar chords. So Dadgad is nice because you can kind of like see like, okay, this is my home bass chord, this is my 5 chord because it's 7 half steps up, and you can just kind of like build from there. I don't know.
It's a good tuning. But what do we got? Jacques552 wrote in. Says, "Hello musical trio and Sweeney."
Ouch.
Damn.
Ouch. Okay.
Roasted by a Frenchman.
Whatever. It doesn't hurt me. I know who I am.
This question is for Jonathan. What is your favorite work of yours? Thanks for all the laughs.
Starship Velociraptor.
Yeah, that's the.
There you go. That's pretty easy.
That was an obvious one. What's your, out of curiosity though? What of your covers are you particularly proud of? Because I love your fucking oh my god, what's the Hellfire?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Hell, motherfucking fire.
Yeah.
That shit's so good. Like I didn't even realize that song was as good as it was until I heard your version of it. Because I saw.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a couple like it's just, I just don't like making covers in general, so it's hard for me to like. Usually, it's the more interesting or iconic songs.
Right.
Like, I'm miserable when I'm doing just some random anime cover or some random fucking. Like even some of the metal songs or rock songs that I do covers of, a lot of the times, like, you know, I'm not necessarily always a big fan of the original song, and a lot of times I'm making the cover because my job is to be a human jukebox, and if I see a comment with 500 upvotes that says do this song from this anime or do this song from this band, like that's how I get paid. So usually the songs that I have to like because they're too good to not like are usually the ones that I have the most fun covering, like Hellfire. It's such an iconic, really well-written song. The Pokemon theme, that was
Amazing.
a super fun one to cover because like you can't not like that song. So like, of course I had fun covering it.
That video was
the
so
Skyrim
wild,
theme
dude.
was another one.
That video was so wild. The Pokemon one was like, this is insane, dude.
Yeah, we went all out for that because we had Jason, we had the original singer, come in and do a guest spot on that. So we were like, okay, we gotta go all out on this video. But most of the time we don't do that because the fans don't care. That's fair. It's like, and that, I mean, that was something I kind of learned after the Pokemon theme. We had it back when I had an editor. You know, I used to have a full-time camera guy on my payroll, and we just learned very quickly that like we would go all out on a video and spend like 6 hours shooting a fucking video, and it would get like 100,000 views, and then we'd like throw together like, you know, I'm like sick, my nose is dripping, I'm miserable, I want to go home and sleep. We'd spend like 30 minutes doing a one take video, and it would get like 30 million views. It's like, I don't care anymore. Like, if this is how it's gonna be, like, and like there's like some of the most successful channels on YouTube right now doing music just post just album art, or like a like an illustration, and then that's the video, and then maybe lyrics on the side, and those are getting millions of views. Yeah, well, but it's like if that's what if kids are only using YouTube as like a Spotify replacer, then why the fuck should I spend $5,000 to fucking?
It's very true.
No, yeah, no, totally
true,
makes sense. That's
a good point.
something that I've been thinking about on YouTube a lot too. It's like why spend a week writing something and like 48 hours editing something if it's just gonna do like as good as something that I just shit out in like a day.
That bothers me directly.
Yeah, like what's the heart of why people are coming to, like, are they coming to your channel to see your editing, or are they coming to your channel because they want to see Chris talk about something? And if it's the latter, if they just want to hear Chris talk about something, just fucking turn the camera on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And that sucks. That fucking sucks
it
to
hurts,
say that.
it hurts my soul, but like, I know that.
Yeah.
But like, if like this is the fucking game we're in, you know, like we're in corporate hell world, and you know, if you wanna get paid, like that's, you know, somebody else is gonna make the same content that you're making, but they're gonna spend half the time editing. Yeah, and then you know, like
that bothers me a lot.
I fucking hate it. I'm miserable because of that every day. Believe me,
it bothers me a lot because like
I get it though. It is the game.
Art should be immortal.
Yeah, because there are singers that don't mix at all, that are getting more subscribers than me. They literally just like put a webcam on and just sing, and they just fucking like print it on top of a karaoke track, and they'll get, you know, easy 2 million subscribers. And that makes me want to fucking jump off the nearest fucking cliff, because it's like, you know, I spend so much time mixing and learning keyboard parts and figuring out chord progressions, but at the end of the day, the only thing people want to hear is me singing their favorite anime song. So they don't care about who.
Like, even
that's why I hire instrumentalists now. I pay producers to do all the. I'll call up one of my guys and I'll be like, I need an instrumental for this anime song by next week, and they'll be like, okay, here's how much you owe me, and then I only have to record for a couple hours, and then I'm done for my weekly video.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
That's a pretty ideal, because I definitely noticed that, like, I'll spend like a lot of time working on a video, and then it'll even if it's a good one, it's like, okay, that's good, but it can bomb. And then like I realized a couple weeks ago, I just had a song that I was like sitting on for like a while, and I literally just recorded it. Like, I did barely any mixing on it. I just like did like a basic cover of my own song and put it on YouTube acoustically, and it did just as well as the video that I like spent a boatload of time on. I'm like, what? I don't even know what the fuck is going on at this point. Yeah. But whatever. We'll hopefully we'll survive.
I hate that. I hate it so much. I hate seeing people that put so much work into their shit, and then they don't get the that just bothers me so much, because like, if I'm creating something, I want, in my mind, if I'm creating something, I want it to live on forever. Like, I want what I'm creating to be something that's like, this is going to, when I'm dead and dust, people are going to look at this and be like, damn, that was sick. But that's not what happens anymore. People just want to consume. It's like I just want to see. I want to see this, and that's it. I don't care how you do it. I don't care about how much time you put or love you put into it. And it's just like, man, that makes me just want to.
But even the stuff that explodes, you know, like I mean, we were talking about Rice Gum earlier, but like he was huge back even just a couple years ago, and I don't know I doubt anybody's even mentioning him. I doubt even I think we're probably the first people to talk about him at all, like in the last like probably several months, you know, like even shit that explodes and gets super popular doesn't live that long.
Because all this shit was just flash in the pan. It's not like
this isn't like Frank Sinatra,
song
you know,
in a fucking playlist. Like I'm saving it a part of my play. Here's gonna be my workout playlist. It's gonna be in my whatnot.
But that's the problem, dude. That's the problem. It disvalues creation.
Yeah,
it makes things less, like it makes it like less. It continually like feeds back into the like this rapid consumption of things, and not like actually like you're hearing something and you're like, oh, that's beautiful. Like I'm gonna show my kids this song one day, and hopefully they'll love it.
Yeah, well, because it's all, and like which came first, the chicken or the egg? You know what I mean? It's like, because at some point it's like the consumers at one point said, wouldn't it be nice if we could have twice as many bands that we like? And then, you know, obviously there's the social media algorithms that say, well, if people aren't coming back to your channel every single fucking week, we're not going to push your channel in the search results anymore. Because,
crazy.
You know, if there's a metal musician that's making one video a week that people really like versus a metal musician that is spending an entire year to make an album, people want more, like, why wouldn't people want more music? But then once the machine learning is saying people want more, then it becomes impossible, like you're saying, to ever spend time on something because it, you know, obviously the algorithm and all that. So
yeah, it's a goddamn mess.
It's crazy.
But
it fucking sucks.
We've got one final question here from the man that will one day fuck your daughters. That is his name. Okay. He's very confident, I guess.
Yeah, very confident.
Just
we'll see about that.
Keep your email and credit card information on file in case I need to call the police. And we're good. He says, "Greetings, music nerd, D&D nerd, skeletal remains, and Bigfoot. Do you have any guilty pleasure songs? You're definitely Bigfoot.
But I'm
Are you
also
kidding?
a D&D nerd at the same time.
Oh wait,
I'm
that's a good
D&D
point.
nerd.
You're a D&D nerd too?
Dude, I have a homebrew that's been going for like years.
Why has this never been? We'll chat. We'll chat after. We'll chat after.
Yeah. Because I don't talk about it. I don't talk about it because I don't want another one of my passions to be ruined by the corporate internet.
Okay, we'll have a private chat about this.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk.
The corporate internet is the saddest phrase I think I've ever heard, because I know you're right, but that wasn't.
I don't talk about my hobbies anymore because I know that if I talk about them too much, then, you know, suddenly I'm on a D&D Twitch stream and now I hate D&D.
Oh my God, you're so damaged. You're so damaged by the internet. It's like I'll stay away from these things. I don't want anyone to know things about
everything, dude. Like I can't listen to music anymore, dude. It's like I'm just thinking about like, oh, it's this chord and this chord and this chord and fucking it sucks. I can't like, it's hard for me to like love things anymore if they've been tainted by the internet.
That's such pain. The internet does fuck everything.
I get it. I do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a political science major, dude. And I was
Jesus
like,
Christ, God help
that.
you.
I was like, because it's so important. But like now I'm like, yo, honestly, burn it all, man.
You know
everybody.
What's important, dog?
Leave that to Paul.
That's what's important.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, he writes in. He says, "Do you all have any guilty pleasure songs? And if so, what are they?" I think I don't have any guilty pleasure songs anymore. I just accept the fact that I like music, and you know,
it's look. I think
like I was listening to fucking Bulletproof by LaRouge the other day, and I was like, this is fun. I like this. You know,
is there any songs though that you probably wouldn't have your car, you know, your windows rolled down and blasting it?
Like,
no, that's a better way. That's a better way to phrase the question, I think, because there's a long list of songs that I would not roll that. But that's like, That's another conversation. That's about like everybody else's perception. Like I know the song's good, but I also know that I'm gonna get fucking emasculated by a bunch of like really insecure dudes if I think if I'm playing "Defying Gravity" from the musical Wicked.
That song is amazing. The Wicked
that
soundtrack,
song is dope,
the Wicked
dude.
soundtrack in general is way better than it had any right to be.
I've been waiting to pull the trigger on a fucking power metal Defying Gravity cover for years. I've been waiting until that musical is relevant again so that I can talk myself into fucking rolling the dice on that. When I'm like fucking practicing drums, I'll just like start fucking like jamming on that song.
It's a good song.
That song is sick.
Dude, I gotta say, huge fan of Hayley Williams. And
it's Haley though.
I mean but like the song that Twilight song Decode, it has it just
wasn't that a Paramore song?
Yes, Paramore. Mm-hmm. So just like not Hayley Williams, but like her fucking just the like I like that song like just all the way through. With the chorus, it does something to me. Just her fucking it just does something to me to the point where that's one song that I definitely would not blast. Especially right now, I live in South Central LA.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Okay, I live in South Central LA. I'm gonna be passing by a bunch of hood niggas all the time, blasting, how did we get here? And like they're just gonna be like I just can't I feel if I like see where I grew up in North Orange County, just on the border of LA and Orange County. I would have no problem being over there because it's just a bunch of like people that either listen to like norteño music, just a bunch of Mexican dudes, or a bunch of pasty white dudes that wouldn't give a shit and like, oh, Paramore. But like that I would say because I love that song.
You and me in South LA, I've got the windows down blasting Defying Gravity. You've got the windows down blasting Paramore. Who gets their shit kicked in first?
I think honestly, I think
Derek.
I think my shit's like it's too.
Yeah, they might see me and be like, fucking white kids.
They'll say betrayer to Derek. They'll be like, betrayer.
Be like,
and he'll attack him.
See, what's going to happen, this dude's going to be like, this nigga's listening to fucking that Twilight track, and then his homie's going to be like, wait,
why do you know that?
fucking know that shit? How do you know that?
Yeah, well, who even knows that that's from Twilight? Like, I feel like people just, like, that's like so far back. I feel like people would hear that and be like, oh, it's Paramore.
Yeah, they would. I only know it's from Twilight because when I was looking up, because I remember their album Brand New Eyes was out. I got a like early copy of it and I was like, oh, this is the shit. And then I heard that the song Decode and I was like, wait, is this like an extra track on Brand New Eyes? But I was like, oh, it's Twilight. Because I didn't watch Twilight until way after it came out, like with some friends. Whatever, I don't remember the year, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, I was just like, this is like one of the best songs they ever fucking written, and it's just a Twilight one-off thing. And I was,
you know what's crazy?
I was like, this is fucking. I love that song.
What's crazy is that I know that song because I saw the last 3 Twilight movies in theaters.
Yeah,
I saw the last 3 of them. Theaters.
God bless you.
Yeah. Why did
you
enjoy them?
Not even slightly, but for women, a teenage boy will do the dumbest things. He will put aside what he believes in entirely just to get a girl.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You don't even believe in things yet, really, but you're like, I can't allow this to get in the way of what I must achieve. And you'll do it.
Damn, all 3 of them, dude.
So the last 3, so it was
you're trooper, man. You're trooper.
Well,
right? I mean, look at. I don't want to be too harsh on those fucking movies. To me, it's more of the concept of vampires. Like I like old vampire movies and shit. And that was just such a deviation from it. I was like, I can't get into this shit at all.
Yo, when he sparkled in the second one, bro, tears. I was like, damn, bro. Imagine being Dracula and then seeing that and just being like, bro, they murdered my boy. Look what they did to my boy. It's not
for us, bro.
Look what they did to my boy, man.
Look what they did to my boy. Look how they massacred my boy.
Poor Sonny.
I know it's not for. It's for a specific audience. There was like a wave of movies like that were coming out, right? Like there was like a superhero movie or something that was
there like Divergence or something.
That's
it.
That's it.
What was that?
Yeah.
There were a lot of those like teen.
It was all
like
tinted
drama.
blue and shit. Like everything. It was like all that stuff was coming out.
I never bothered to see the Hunger.
Games?
Yeah, I never bothered to see the Hunger Games movie specifically because like I remember hearing like, oh hey, that's about like somebody was like, yeah, it's a movie about like kids killing each other. I was like, that sounds wild. Is it like rated R? I was like, nah, it's PG-13. I was like, well,
it's no battle royale. That's
okay.
sure.
Battle Royale
like,
was bananas.
Yeah, that was a weird era that was like when corporations were finally realizing that they could cash in on stories that are anti-corporate.
Yeah,
that was really weird, man.
That's funny.
That was like the tipping point where corporations were like, "Hey, we control everything, and we can make a dystopian story about kids rising up against people who control everything, and make a ton of money on it, and
crazy.
control everything even more." Like it's like so weird, man.
That's pretty ironic. I like that.
And on that note, I think now is about an appropriate time to bring this little episode to a close. I want to thank Jonathan for coming on because this is just really, really cool. We've like played Destiny together and all that shit, but like I've been wanting to do something like this for a while.
You play Destiny too, bro? Come on,
A while ago, like I don't know, like
Yeah,
I haven't played Destiny in a hot minute, but.
You're getting a simp right now, Jonathan.
For real.
Dude, well, I'm just a regular guy, man. We just fucking shoot the shit, play some video games.
Just a regular guy with fucking
fuck the
hundreds
YouTube
of
shit.
millions of views and shit.
Billions at this point.
The only thing I spend my YouTube money on is fucking Magic the Gathering cards. Like
That's hilarious.
that's like
Magic.
that's it.
if I had lots of money, yeah. I just saw a fucking graphics card that was like $6,500, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that.
Jesus Christ,
get
that's an insane.
I saw the reviews for it, and then the first thing said, "Will it play Fortnite?" And then the first response said no, and 9 upvotes of was this helpful.
Will it play Fortnite?
It's all over.
What happened to the world, bro?
But
I feel bad. We keep derailing when Chris is trying to like.
He's trying to end.
He's trying to run a
hard.
reputable podcast.
I'm just trying to keep it on time and like a reasonable amount of time. But just out of curiosity, where is Starship Velociraptor going? Is that going to be on Spotify? Is it going to be on
everywhere?
Everywhere?
Just search for Starship Velociraptor on your favorite platform, and if you can't find it, I'll fucking send it to you for free. If you're one of those people that loves Tidal and you only listen to music on Tidal, I'll send it to you for free, bud. I'm gonna get 100 DMs. They're like, Tidal's my favorite. Please send it to me.
I beg.
Like, yeah.
So that's obviously 4/3/2/1, April 3rd.
Check it out.
So yeah, check it out. And
You have a Will Smith collaboration, right? On it?
Yes.
Is that not a joke? Is that not a?
Yeah, it's called All That's
know.
Hot. Like it's and it's Will Smith in The Entanglement. It's pretty.
The
it's pretty
Entanglement. Cool. That's so mean, bro. Did you see his face? He was so hurt. How could you make fun of someone like that?
Did you guys see that fucking dude who proposed to his girlfriend
Ben
in a
10
in a Ben 10 jacket in a mall food court?
Yeah,
and he just got completely
I don't know how
rejected.
I missed this. What the?
It's very recent.
Corporate media is destroying everything.
Oh, it's just today.
It happened this morning. The saddest thing I've ever seen.
That Ben 10 jacket looks really cool, though. Honestly, it's a really cool jacket.
So if you wanna maybe, if you're interested in maybe getting a Ben 10 jacket, maybe don't do that and instead toss your money over to us at patreon.com/thesnarktank. $1 a month gets you early access to every episode and some solo episodes exclusive to the Patreon. $5 gets you a question read on the show. $10 gets you access to the Discord. That's a one-time payment and you're in for good. And $25 gets your name dyslexically read at the end of the show, which I will now do. I try my best, but you guys always hurt me with these. Count me down.
All right.
Between
3, 2, 1.
Sammy and his big titty fishy, Charlotte Jerde, Drunken Doulahan, Pre-Roz, a tiny Asian man, I know where you live, Brandon, Cum Man, the man of cum, Blake 896, Pinyap Vivo, the epic Oshawott, Silly Putty Eater, in the name of the dyslexic wombat, Jesus fucking Christ, Big Peen, and the Holy Sween, OG two-tone Crenshaw Mafia Blood. Ace Man. Fucking kill me. 1 subscription to Dr. Purple on YouTube a day keeps the demons from trying to touch me away.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Grump. I'm not so Grump. Do you have any underage fans?
Whoa!
Holman Brown 98. Diego Andres Hernandez.
Not
Hey
yet.
boss, why haven't you followed me on Twitter? I feel like I only have one of the starter Pokemon. Ryan Lucchesi. My dog's name is Big Government, and Big Government is hungry for minorities. Sloshy Scout.
Jesus Christ.
People are the worst.
Yeah.
Atrasoni. Hideo Kojima screaming the N-word at the top of his lungs while promoting his next video game.
True story.
He names it
Quiver-
that.
That's a real. That's just the name of his fucking next.
I'd buy that game.
Escapade.
I'd buy that game.
I'll buy anything Kojima because I'm an asshole. Quivering Cloaca, Tom Sweeney, the atrocious alien fucker. Please check out my podcast. It's called How Did We Even Get Here? Every Thursday. Leroy Jenkins, Kingston Kicking Kids.
Ouch.
Help! I was walking outside with my pants down and tripped into some pussy, but now my girlfriend won't talk to me.
Oh God.
It
You
happens,
guys-
man.
These names, man.
Derek, where are you? You look like you.
I'm freezing, man. Hurry up.
It looks so ridiculous.
Tomboys are a symbol of sincerity, purity of intention, and companionship. They are arguably the highest ideal form of the modern woman. Hard hat skydiver, Steven Crowder's dress that he doesn't let his wife wear. Chris has a high voice for a lesbian. Absolute wagon, Lord Gavin, Dr. Drew's appendix, ready to blow on Chris's command. Yabba dabba domestic abuse. I was cockblocked by a turtle. Alaskan oilfield trash. Lieutenant Lipton's famous teabag facials. Lovecraftian cumsock. Not an FBI agent. Juan Punchman. Marcus Shorten. Mr. Fuck. Jim Crow's daddy issues. Abusi. Chris promised to drop Tom's nudes at 10K. Last page. We're done. We're almost done. Papa Nurgle, Sargon getting slurped by Solid Snake, Danny DeVito's perfectly preserved penis, Small Peen Sween Machine, Murder Ascended, David Connolly, the dyslexic that feels Chris's pain. I lost my boss's cat, and people are giving me weird looks as I call its name. The year is 1900, and I work for H.P. Lovecraft. Lobotomized Jesus is my drooling divine savior. Heiko Moto Zealot. Hey you, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the
do it
border,
in the
right?
fucking voice,
Yeah,
man.
dude, I
Don't
can't-
fucking come on.
I'm not
Hey,
doing
you.
the Skyrim voice.
Chris, come on, bro. It's a part of the show.
Hey you, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us.
Have you done this before?
Unfortunately,
It's
numerous
every
times.
week thing, dude. Every time.
It's the most painful. Every episode of this fucking show ends with me in pain, searing pain. It's
Dude, you should
sad.
let me read the names.
God,
I'd do it.
Hiroshima spicy mushrooms.
I know, that'd be great.
Wintu Watsu the.
Jonathan, you're like
Some
a
of these I
regular
feel
dude
like
and you're
s-
not ready for this. What we
Some of
bring.
these.
No, dude, I'm laughing because like my private Discord name is Poo Poo Pee Pee Man. So this is like right up my alley.
Some of these I just feel like I just can't say. Wintu Watsu, the African little boosie, killed a cockroach and take that pussy. That's his name. Thank you for ruining my career. Derek's unyielding sex drive. Dummy Thick Dave, Heartless Wretch, aka the Ebony Goblin, from the dump of New York City. Uncle Tony's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic, where today's loss is tomorrow's sauce. Dan Schneider, the Hyman Divider. Jackson Absage, Badly Brave, Jolly Old Dipshit. Hugger Derek, the movie theater assistant manager. Ethereum Mrs. Butthurt McWamacon. Chris Gape, my Progerian hunting ass. Deflated Left Ass Cheek, All Hands on Dick, Arrow, Sunny Chance, Derek, you should listen to Dallas Beltway by Chat Pile. It's a good song.
I
still don't know
did.
what
I didn't
that's-
like it.
Oh, really? He hates it.
Yeah.
So
so
fucking weird.
mean-spirited. He hates
so
it.
fuck you, dude. You suck. I can't believe you would support us for this long, only to recommend us terrible music. I'm just joking. We love you. The will has been rewritten entirely so that everything goes to their new son, Chris Raygun. Adoption papers are in the mail. Richter 86 and the final, as always, King of Haphazard, who has been here for like a really long time.
The chosen one.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, that you had to sit through that.
Oh no, dude, it's cool. It's cool.
But that's gonna be it for us today. Obviously, check out Jonathan Young. He makes all sorts of really cool shit. Obviously, his new album on Spotify and not on Tidal.
Unfortunately, sorry guys.
which should be live basically by the time you.
It
you
might
hear
be
this.
on time. I don't know if my distributor distributes the title. I should probably check that before I make claims like that.
Oh
but-
yeah, well we'll see. We'll retweet it when it goes out.
And thank you guys so much for having me. This
Of
was
course,
a-
man.
This is
Thanks
a
for being here,
pleasure,
man.
dude.
You're
Hell
the
yeah.
shit, boy.
Pleasure, my guy.
All right, guys. We out.
Fuck you, little